Hi, and welcome to Section 3, Deep Dive into Express.js. So how are we feeling after the last section? Not too bad, right? Keep it up, you're doing great. In this section, we will continue to learn about Express.js, particularly the use of its middleware, router, and template engine. For template engine, we will touch on two popular ones, namely Pug, previously known as Jade and EJS. We will then learn about how to make our web pages responsive to different screen dimensions by using the Bootstrap framework. Last but not least, we will build a web form and see how we handle the parameters passed by the post method. Now we move on to the first video of this section that deals with Express middleware. In this video, we are going to take a look at why Express is so powerful. The reason is its flexibility and a bunch of middleware that we may choose to achieve almost anything we want to do for a web application. We will highlight how we structure the Node project and serve not only dynamic web content, but also static web assets. For example, a static HTML page. First, let's create a new folder called 3.1 for this video. Then, run npm in it to make a new Node project. Then, we install the Express framework. Then, change to Sublime Text and open the 3.1 project folder. Create a new file called index.js. We can then start writing the skeleton code for an Express web application, assuming that we will have two groups of users to access the application, namely member and admin. So, we have two get method handlers for the path /API/member and the /API/admin path, respectively. Lastly, make the application listen to port 8080. Simple enough, right? Let's add a few more URLs for the members. Copy the get method, paste and change the path to /API/member/profile. Also, change the message to member profile page. Add one more get method, say for change password. So we can imagine that if we continue to add on functions for members, there will be so many get methods. Obviously, this repetitive approach is difficult to maintain. Express provides a router middleware that is much more structured. We can create a router for the member functions and assign it to the variable member API like this. Then we simply change this app to member API. We also make one router for the admin functions. At present, we only get one admin function, but it's a good practice to apply this router pattern for future flexibility. Now we've grouped the member and admin functions to their corresponding router. We can then link them to Express. Right above the app.listen method, add an app.use method to hook up the member API router to the path /API/member. Similarly, repeat this for the admin API router. Then, we need to remove the repetitive path /API/member. Do the same for the profile and change password methods. Also, remove /API/admin in the admin get method. Okay, all done. We may run the app to have a look. Go to the terminal, type in node mon index, and press enter. Go to the browser. Try localhost 8080/API/member. Aha! It's the member page. How about API admin? So far, so good. Test the remaining member functions. Profile, change password. All good. Now we can use routers to map requests to the method handlers in a cleaner fashion. A typical web application usually has some static contents, such as static HTML pages, images, CSS, so on and so forth. With Express, we can serve those static assets as well. For our app, let's create a new folder called public. Make a simple HTML page, 1.html. We may then configure Express to look for any static resources in the public folder by the use method. To indicate the folder containing static resources, we use the static method of Express. We may think of the static method as a router for static resources. In our case, it's public. Switch to Chrome and try 1.html. See? Our web app can serve static HTML page now. Typically, we create subfolders in public to hold different types of assets. For example, CSS for CSS files, JS for JavaScripts, images for PNGs, JPEGs, and so on. Last but not least, the path we provided to the static function is relative to the directory from where we launched the Node process. If we run the Express app from another directory, it's safer to use the absolute path of the directory that we want to serve. So we modify the path to _dir_name + /public. In this video, we have learned about Express Router and how to serve static files.